Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Oh, man. The intro. And this is the brief pause for the intro. And now the intro's done, right?
Yeah, you never have to talk about the intro.
Oh, do I not? I don't have to do it? Okay, so it just happens. And then, yeah, I guess it feels more intro if we do it like that. So how was the audio when was I doing a good distance away?
No, you kept pushing it away, and then you kept touching it, and then you also kept putting on your glass very loudly.
I can't. It's so hard to shoot a podcast with a Neanderthal, so.
We're getting there. We're getting you trained up.
If we could get me to just change my shorts.
Those look a little darker than, are those the same ones? Or
Yeah, they're the same exact ones. They're just darker. Huh. Dingy. I guess I'm not going to change them. I'll change them when we get to like 100,000 listeners.
Mm. Yeah, so, it's a good time to change your underwear too.
Well, that's what we got to do, man. We got to start holding people hostage. Be like, share it with your friends, or Michael's not going to change his pants. I changed my underwear just because my wife makes me.
See, I was just hoping we'd get one of those chainmail things going on that old people would be like, oh my God, these poor boys.
Brother, I was like, well, why would I wear armor? Why would I wear armor in a podcast?
Yeah, chainmail.
That's what I thought, chainmail.
Chain letter, whatever.
Bro, people used to talk about that when I was a kid, like chainmails and shit like that. And I'd be like, yeah, like the armor. Fucking everybody's got it? Like shit.
Well, it's crazy.
Everybody's partaking in it.
Yeah, all the old school scams used to just be actual physical letters that people used to fall for.
And it was like young people on the internet too. So that was back when it first started. Old people who told us not to trust the internet.
I'm saying pre-internet, they used to actually send out mail that was scams, and then then it became social media, or then it became email, and then it became social media, and now it's like, your Facebook page is going to get taken down.
What year did the internet really like take the fuck off? Because like I said, we didn't have internet in our house forever.
Depends on how wealthy you were. I mean, I knew friends of mine that had it in probably 96, 97.
96? I thought it was like 2008 or something.
Nah.
Gee, 96.
We had it by 98 because we had a Windows 98 computer and we had the internet. That was when you'd get those AOL discs and they'd give you like free internet for.
Look, I'm hella convinced you were rich when you were young.
Nah, dog.
And you just like.
It wasn't the uptick of like, we were extremely poor, and then like right around.
You're like Jaden Smith, bro. Like you're fucking super rich, and you're just this is not rich.
No, the people that were rich around me had like air conditioning and stuff. We didn't have air conditioning.
Man, I remember we used to have. So they just had the air conditioner set on a table, and then he had like an aluminum pan underneath. My stepdad did to catch the drippings.
So it was just sitting inside the house?
Yep, just sitting right there on the fucking table.
You do realize that like it's a heat exchange, so like the heat's also just getting pushed into the house too. So like it's not doing actually anything other than the air that's blowing at you, right?
Really?
Yeah, it's got to like vent to the outside so that the hot air goes out and the cool air stays in.
It felt cool when you were sitting in front of it.
Right in front of it. But yeah, then
that's all we cared about when we got done playing. My favorite thing as a kid was the feeling you got when it was like you were fucking hot, exhausted, and you'd sit right in front of an air conditioner. That just like coolness felt like it was revitalizing you. But then in the wintertime, you would be outside and be really cold, and then you'd walk in and be like the fiery depths of hell. Because we had we had a kerosene heater and then a wood. I don't know how I didn't die of carbon monoxide poisoning because we had no ventilation for either one of them.
Wait, a wood stove you didn't have?
The wood stove it did have like a little hole to the outside.
Yeah.
But what's so funny too is the hole that was outside, there was like another hole right next to it where I guess another old wood heater was. This was the house we spent, I think, most of my childhood in, which was like 6 years. But there was I said 6 years. I don't fucking know how long we were there. Like people will be like, Mike always fucks up the timeline of his childhood. And it's like, brother, I don't fucking remember. I have told you guys how much I did a lot of drugs. All right. Why I didn't ruin my life, but there are consequences from doing that. It's like, I have terrible memory.
Well, see,
the worst memory.
I think if you don't go back and like keep those memories active, they kind of disappear. So you get like a few key moments that you remember, but for the most part, like a lot of your memories throughout your childhood go away.
Right. I just have a good chance of like trying to recall shit and then be like, oh fuck, I did get molested, so I just don't even go back there. No. Yeah, just like if I sealed them off, like little Michael did a good job.
We don't open that door over there. That door stays closed.
Oh fuck! Oh god, I did. That's why I never want to get hypnoptized. Like you see the people getting hypnotized in front of an audience, and it's like I'm just sitting there like, oh god, No, Papa, no, not the balls. Like, oh, so my grandpa used to do this thing. Look, this is gonna be fucking embarrassing right here. All right, so I'm not even gonna tell it.
This is your Kanye
Yeah,
moment?
I just went. No. I was sitting there sucking dick. All right, and I was just like, you know what, Papa, I think we should do something else. when I heard that people were spending time with their grandpa, it was like on swings and stuff like that, and it was like, Papa took him fishing.
I have very, very few stories. I think my grandpa took me to go get donuts one time, and that was about. Other
That's
than
dope.
that, there was always like other grandkids around, and they like lived there. So like I was the not looked after grandkid.
This is gonna sound weird to say, but besides the whole molestation thing, and once again, I said it didn't happen to me. He did ask the question, so I would like when other people start talking about it, I was like, look, I believe you 100%. He was pretty good papa. Like he was pretty solid. He did help like feed us and shit like that. And I remember like he used to like crush cans and shit, and I'd just go over to his house and crush cans all day if I like wanted something for school. So listen. Wow, yes, he did molest a couple of people. God, he was all right. He was an all right guy.
So just imagine if you guys took those cans and took them somewhere where they give you 5 cents per can. It's worth a lot more than the crushed version.
Where the fuck did they do that at? I think they stopped doing that a long time ago.
Nope.
Really?
Still New York, Pennsylvania, or not PA, Michigan, Hawaii.
I think driving to New York or Pennsylvania with my grandpa, it drastically increases. Like me alone across state lines, I think that drastically increases my chances of getting molested. So.
I had a buddy that his dad was an alcoholic, and so he would drink like a fish, and he had like a sunroom that was specifically for saving cans and bottles. And so anytime like we were trying to like buy weed or anything, we'd just go in there and be like, our cans, and we'd get like $30 to $40 and be
really
like, weed. Yeah. And then he'd get mad because he was going to use that to buy more beer, and we stole his beer money. And so, yeah.
I don't know the statute of limitations. Murder's like 10 years or something. No, I don't think there's one for murder. Statutory rape, I know that one's like 7 years because of Law and Order SVU. All right. But I want to delve into some crimes that I did. That'd be dope since we're talking about that, making money and stuff. So one big thing we did, especially like when we were homeless, is we would steal all the copper off of fucking telephone poles and train tracks.
Yeah, do you want to check the statutes before we
I don't give a fuck. They don't have, I'm not gonna say where. They can't just be like, allegedly I did this. Allegedly we would do this. And allegedly one time we did it and we snipped one and the fucking thing just started doing like this shit right here and the light started flashing.
Jeez. When I worked at the mattress ticking factory, that was one of the things that people would take the copper because like, I mean, you're always running new wire, like taking down old wire and all that stuff. And so, I mean, some of it was like pretty hefty wire. And at one point we had a really shitty maintenance manager who was also stealing. So like he'd buy like new chainsaws and then they would never stay at the property. Like they were always with him. So like he was just buying shit for himself and then making the company pay for it. But during his like tenure, everybody in the maintenance department was like, oh, we just pulled all this copper out. Let's go ahead and strip it. And then they throw it in their car and they take it back to the scrapyard.
Fuck yeah.
They were making like, $500 to $1,000 a week off of like scrapping wire.
It made money.
Oh, yeah.
It did do that. So there were also like, abandoned houses. Fucking people weren't like that's why I just give a little bit of leniency. Like if you're out there doing it for drugs, I'll be like, fuck you. What if someone does it, man? That's all we were trying to do. We weren't like, oh man, we're gonna get some drugs with this. We were like, fucking, we're starving. Like we're fucking.
I mean, you budgeted for drugs too, but
right? Yeah, we had the yeah, of course, yeah, obligatory.
It wasn't
obligatory
all for drugs,
budget, obligatory budget for drugs aside. It was used for food. So I mean, people might not know this. You know this, but I've been to jail on a couple occasions. Never to which I actually did the thing. That's what sucks, man. Like. So, firstly, welcome to Mike and Dylan Hate Drama. We are deep in this and haven't even welcomed people. But
we got an hour in before we said anything about any stories.
Oh, yeah, like that. They were like, we love the rambling, so fucking here it comes.
Yeah.
Here it comes. But welcome to Mike and Dylan Hate Drama. We talk about drama, a lot about our lives. We give advice to people. We give advice kind of based on our lives, which is weird because not many people have lived a life like me. But, I think... a lot of people lived a life like me. You just don't hear about them. You know, they're just like, I got to keep that to myself. Like when you see like just a successful guy, like one that's making like, you know, $70,000 a year, got a family at home's real happy, everybody's healthy. He ain't talking about that shit. He ain't talking about when he was a kid. He represses it, and then
Well, and also you don't want to
finally one day hangs himself in a closet.
you also don't want to like fuck up your kids by telling them like how much of a shitbag you were. Like if there's a lesson that you can teach them, you'll tell them.
Well,
but
I
like
mean,
you don't.
I fucking like, bro. I remember like dumpster diving for food. You know what I'm saying? Like, and bro, I was excited to do that. Like as a fucking 8, 9-year-old, I was excited. Me and my brothers would go out at like midnight and do that. And then you think about that, and we would find stuff and be like, it was fucking grateful. Like we was like, oh fuck yes, they just threw it out. Look, food that just got thrown out. People are gonna be like, oh man, Mike ate out of the dumpster. Fucking it happens. All right, it happens, brother. Sometimes you're poor and you got to make do. All right. Not everybody got to live the fancy pants life where they had the AOL discs in their house.
Those are free, bro.
With the internet.
Those are free.
Yeah, well, they didn't give none to me. I was so poor, they wouldn't even give me free stuff. So, but to then go through that, and then your daughter be like, Dad, I really need you to go back to McDonald's right now because they put ketchup on my hamburger. I'm like, girl.
Eat the damn thing.
I go back to McDonald's. I'm ashamed to say it. Yeah,
No,
I
fuck
do
that.
it.
No.
I do it. Well, we ordered it like that. All right. And that's the way she wanted it. And that's the way. And I'm a big advocate for people need to be, you know, make a living. Like if you work, you should be able to, you know, afford to live in this country. And then they'll fuck up a hamburger or something at McDonald's. And I'll be like, oh, you want $15 fucking dollars, you motherfucker. That's when the boomer in me comes out. I'm just like, you want $15 fucking dollars? Can't even get a goddamn hamburger right. Fucking.
No, I'm the
People
type,
see the repercussions of doing that fucking voice, man.
I'm the type of person where I like if somebody fucks up my order, like that determines whether I go back to the place like ever again. Not like I'll eat whatever the fuck is there.
Food has to be just like incredibly bad for me not to go back, like for me not to eat it. One example, and I'm ruining this sponsorship for the rest of our lives, by the way.
Better not be Cookout.
No, Taco Bell chicken nuggets.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Taco Bell chicken nuggets taste like fucking raccoon meat. I don't know, like spoiled raccoon meat. It's not good. And then they put this kind of like it's like a fucking powdery substance on it. They're doing things you don't. Chicken nuggets are easy. You just nugget them. That's it. They're delicious like that. And Taco Bell's like, how can we make this
Worse?
weird? Just not even. It's incredibly worse. I mean, it's worse than like Burger King's fake chicken nuggets. I would rather eat what I assume is people meat from Burger King than
Probably horse meat.
No, I think it's people meat.
I mean, there's probably a little bit of people mixed in, but people meat's expensive.
I remember when. Well, you got to think, man. So many people die.
Yeah.
And horses you got to take care of.
But trying to like peel that out from the funeral home industry, like they're one of the most like profitable industries. If you die, it's all of a sudden like $20,000 worth of stuff.
I do. I like part of me is thinking like there's somewhere out there where it's like a laboratory or something. They're hooked up with a nice funeral home, and they're just like, let me get a couple people. Oh, but let me get back to the crimes that I did that I didn't do. All right. So
Allegedly.
So the first one was the first time I had ever really like been in trouble with the law. So I am at school. I am in the theater class. All right. I was a theater kid. I enjoyed it. All right. They're going to be like, oh, Mike's gay. All right. Just a little bit. All right. Look, so I was in theater class and 2 cops walk in and they're like, Mr. Wright, we need you to come with us. And everybody's like, oh, and I'm a bad kid. Like, I'm a bad kid in school. I cuss, I fight people. I'm a bad kid. So it was half expected of people, like cops to walk in and one day pull me out of class. So I'm just like, gotta go, guys. You know, fucking it happens. You know, I gotta soak it all in.
My
like,
ride's here.
Yeah, I gotta look cool while I'm going up there. And as soon as I'm just like, oh, what do you boys need? Like, why are we here? And they're like, you know why we're here. And I'm like, brother, I do not. I do not know why you were here. So we go up to the office, and I sit down, and there's 2 detectives. There are two detectives in the fucking what do you call it? Principal's office. There we go. Brain fart. So I sit down, and they're like, hey, so what were you doing last night? I was like, sleeping? Asleep at home? for school that I'm at. It's like fucking 10 o'clock in the morning. What do you think I was doing last night where I'm at school at 10 o'clock in the morning? They were like, so what about the Walmart on South Main Street? And I'm like, I don't know anything about that. They were like, you don't know anything about that. And I was like, all right, well, just be expecting us to come by your house later. And I was like, can y'all tell me? Listen, I was just remind me what I did last night at least. So apparently I had my phone number was used. That's the big part about this. My phone number 100% was used. The number that they had was my phone. And it was used to call in a bomb threat to Walmart.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I was like, what the fuck did I do last night? Because, you hear that. I'm like, from my phone. And it was my number. And they read out the number. I was like, oh, that's my number. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh, no, I don't think, I mean, we drank a little bit, like I said, but I'm not a big drinker. So I wouldn't even get, I'd remember what happened. So I go home and I tell my middle brother. Now, here's the thing I want you to know about the Walmart. My brother worked there. So I was like,
the oldest or
the oldest, yeah. So I was like, maybe one of my brothers will know what happened. So I asked my middle brother, and he was like, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we both had an inkling of what may have transpired.
Yeah.
And for listeners that aren't catching the drift, we think maybe it was my older brother who happened to work at Walmart. Now,
we didn't want to go to work.
We don't know why. Well, we didn't at that point. I was like, why would you call in a bomb threat at your job?
There's only one reason.
What the fuck would you just not leave? Just be like, hey, I don't feel good. That's bro. That always worked for me. I was just like, belly hurts a little bit.
No, you gotta go big.
And back once I was a good operator and fucking my nuts dropped, I'd be like, I gotta go, and they'd be like, why? I'd be like, it's personal. And they're just like, all right, because they can't ask you any farther than that.
Yeah.
But so I asked my older brother about it, and he's like, a bomb threat from your phone? And he was like, well, I don't, maybe you could have called me in your sleep. I was like,
a bomb threat?
Maybe in my sleep, I dialed Walmart's number, and then I called in a bomb threat. And he was like, look, I don't know what happened. So we don't see the detectives at all. And it's like Saturday that weekend. This happened earlier in the week. Saturday, everybody's just chilling at the house. We're all having fun. And a car pulls up. It's the two detectives. And let me tell you something about detectives, too, that you don't see on TV. They're dicks. They are assholes. And the one guy was just like a normal dude. So he like knocks on the door, and I open it, and I was like, what's up, man? He was like, oh, it's the fucking liar. He really said that. He's like, oh, it's the fucking liar. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, oh, come here. I'll show you what I mean. And he's like, I just hop in the passenger seat of my car. And I was like, am I being arrested, brother? He's like, no, you ain't being arrested, bud. He's like, just sit down in the car. So I sit down, and he has like the old rig where you had the cassette wire. Yeah. The cassette player hooked up to the fucking radio. So he presses play, and the voice is like, there's a bomb in the Walmart. It's going to blow up. So is someone talking like that? Now, it's so fucking obvious as my older brother. Like 100% unmistakable. I don't know if you know this about brothers. Some of them sound alike because, they fucking grew up together. Yeah. So some of them sound alike. So I don't know what it is. I think it had a lot to do with 50 Cent and his whole don't be a snitch. I don't know. He should have really said that wasn't for white people. Like, he's like,
it's not for a shitbag brother like that threw you under the bus.
Yeah, it's all 50 Cent's fault though. So in my brain, I just want to be like, come on, detective. You're a detective. There's someone in this house that works at Walmart. There's a person in here who works at Walmart.
Who doesn't want to go to work?
Who does? Yeah.
Like,
maybe we should question everybody. But I didn't want to I didn't even want to pseudo snitch on my brother. So I was just like, man, that doesn't sound like anybody I know. And he's just like looking at me. Because I'm just like, man, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like you hear my voice, but just go in there and talk to everybody.
Well, you don't even hear your voice. You hear somebody trying to make
He did the worst. Like I would have I'm really good at voices. So I'd have just changed it up. I'd have went
hello, I just found a bomb inside of Walmart.
I could have went with anybody, man. I could have been like, oh man, there's a bomb inside of Walmart. Like I could have done anything besides the fucking voice changer.
Was that Meatwad from Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
I wish I could do it. Meatwad his gets up there. I could do it if I try. I ain't gonna fucking try. That's the one thing about Like when I'm doing voices and shit, I'd just be at home. It was somebody told me to like try Marge Simpson because I was just doing one voice, and I was just, oh homie, just walking through the fucking house, just kept going, oh homie, and like I keep doing it, not thinking to myself, because I'm fucking autistic, and where I'm stimming like a motherfucker, and my wife's like, shut the fuck up, just like shut the fuck, it's like 10:30 at night. And I'm just walking down, just oh homie, just like you gotta keep doing it and like trying to, and then like I'm like feeling just like oh, like you keep trying different things with your voice. All right, so it's very obvious who it is. So Robbie goes out there. That's my middle brother. He goes out there and he listens in the car, and he comes back and he's pissed because he too is not like, he's like, but he tells Justin, he's like, man, you need to go out there and confess because that's your little brother right there. And Justin's still like, I did not do that. He's like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on.
See that eight-year-old moment you had with Ollie? He's not.
Yeah, he's not.
Like, yeah, he didn't get that.
I'm not mad that you did it, Justin. Yeah. I'm mad that you're lying right now because I'm gonna go to jail. So fast forward a couple months, and I have my first court date. I've been formally charged. They come and arrest me at school. Shout out to the cops. That was the coolest place you could have done it at. Coolest place you could have done it at. I got a lot of street cred at school. So I go in, I talk to the magistrate, and the magistrate is like reading the thing, and he's like, it says right here, because they had talked to Robert too, so they had like people's like things on here. He's like, it says right here he has a brother that works at Walmart. Now the cops, they have nothing to do with me, like me getting like the case. They're not the detectives, and they're like, he's like reading it out in a jovial way. So I felt really good about it, that I wasn't going to get like in trouble for it. But he's like, yeah, man, I'll let you sign yourself out. And he's like, just get a court-appointed lawyer. Because I was like, yeah, I'm pretty poor. He's like, just get a court-appointed lawyer. He's like, you should be able to beat this. Because he saw it like where he's like, you got a brother that works at Walmart? And he's like, and I was like, yeah, I'm just like kind of giving him the nod. And the cops were real dope too. They were like, yeah, he was real cool about it. And I was like, yeah, I was real cool about it.
Because I didn't do it.
Well, no. Also because it just looked really cool doing it at school. And it was like during one of the transition periods. So everybody was like out in the field. I was like, fucking like, yeah,
I'll be back
another day. That's when I thought it was cool to be bad, and it's not. I'll get into more why it's not. So I get a court-appointed lawyer. This guy, I mean, he has like a suit on that's like one size too big for him. He has black hair and it's like all straggly. And he is reading it, and he's like, says here you got a brother that works at Walmart. I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, so he did it. That's our thing, right? And I was like, well, if you say that, then he's gonna go to jail. He's like, no. He'll just have. He was like, if they want to charge him, they can, but that might not even have. He had convinced me. He was like, look, don't be a dumbass, brother. Yeah. He's like, because you could. So it was when I got in there, and because it was multiple things other than the bomb threat, and it wasn't called like a bomb threat. I forgot what they had worded it. It was a felony. Yeah. So. He was like a maximum of like 120 months. And I was like, that's 10 years. I was just doing, like, imagine me just sitting there like
12 times 10.
Oh God. Like I was terrified. So, it's my first court date. We don't have a car or anything like that. And I couldn't make it to court. So I called up to the courthouse. And so I had actually missed it. I think I just forgot. I don't remember what it was, but my lawyer was there. So I didn't even have to go to court that day. I didn't know that I didn't have to go to court. So my lawyer was there and it was all cool. So the second court day comes around, and this is where I fuck up. It's all about taking accountability. This is where I fuck up. So the second court date, I just didn't go because I was like, my lawyer's just going to handle it. I got the best lawyer. Some say it's the best in North Carolina, but you know what I'm saying? Fucking he'll set me free. I'm fucking dodging another case. Stupid fucking Mike. Oh God, I want to punch him in his goddamn fucking gullet. So obviously that time that was not good. So they put a warrant out for my arrest. Now this was my first year of my senior year. I did my senior year twice.
So good you did twice.
Yeah, this is my first one. So I had gotten kicked out halfway through the first one. Or not, I didn't get kicked out the first time. I dropped out or I just stopped going. I can't remember what the fuck happened the first time.
It's all good.
I know the second time I definitely got kicked out. They was just like, brother, don't come back ever. But the first time I can't remember what I think I just quit going. So it's now summertime. and I cannot find a job to save my fucking life. So I'm like, man, I gotta go back to school. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back to school. In my brain, I'm not thinking like I have a warrant out for my arrest. So we go to this party. No, I do think that I have a warrant out for my arrest because right now I was staying at my friend Brandon's house, his dad Gary, which there's people in life that you'll swear are angels. Like he had his own problems. Yeah, everybody's had a fucking rough life where I come from, but definitely one of the nicest people because like me and his son weren't friends long, and he was like, "Oh man, like you're a kid trying to." He's like, "Fucking sleep on my floor," So, but we go to this party, and I was like, "Oh man, I can like fucking hang out with this bitch and fuck with her." But if I do that, then I have to go to my brother's house, and I was like, "That's kind of scary because I have a warrant out for my arrest." But I decided I don't give a fuck. Bitches, you know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna come get me anyways. And it's been a while. It had actually been like a month and a half, 2 months. I can't remember.
So you were running from a warrant?
I wasn't running. I just didn't turn myself in. I was like being mindful of where I stayed, though. I didn't want to go to jail.
That's running.
Well, in my mind, like you could just
from...
in my mind, you could just make it right. I had really never been in trouble. So I go back. Me and the girl don't even hook up, so that makes it doubly bad. Fucking salt in the wound right there. I go to my brother's house, and this is where the dark episode where I talk about fighting that guy. This is that little duplex they had gotten. At this point, I wasn't living with them, though. I was off, like, couch to couch trying to do my own fucking thing. So I go over to their house, and I fall asleep on the floor. I'm fucked up. So I fall asleep on the floor. So morning time comes around, big bang on the door. It's July 3rd. No. It is the 4th of July. My first day of jail was on the 4th of July. So I wake up to banging on the door. So one of the guys that lived there, Scott, who used to date my sister, he goes up to the door, and I hear the cops plain as day. Like, what's up, bud? Michael right here? So I was like, oh, fuck. So I stand up, and I go to get in the closet, and I open the closet, and the closet is jam-packed full of shit. And I'm like, well, I got to squeeze in. And at this point, I was a little bit smaller. So, because I had gotten real skinny at this, like, especially like a year from now, I was real skinny because drugs. But so I try to like squeeze myself in the closet. Now, I don't know what the cops and Scott spoke about, but he let the cops in. I'm pretty sure you could be like, no, you can't search this without search. Maybe they had a warrant. I don't fucking know. But I hide in the closet, and I'm sitting there like trying to maneuver myself. And I sit on a fucking Iron Man toy. So it's going, I am Iron Man. I am. And I hear all these cops, get out of the fucking closet, get out of the fucking closet. At this point, I'm scared. Like, I am very, very terrified. So I open the door, and brother, they had like, I didn't even know cops carried shotguns. Like, they have these there's like 3 cops, just shotguns, all pointed at me. And I'm just like, I get against the wall. Now I'm wearing these jean shorts. They start filling my pockets up, and a cop feels something. He's like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? I'm like, brother, I don't know. Like, I just got fucked up last night. I was terrified about what was in my pocket. So he reaches in, and he pulls out like a big thing. You know how like if you have paper in your pocket and you wash the pants, it turns into a ball. Yeah, that's what it was. And I was like, oof, that ain't mine. But I go back to the magistrate. Now, the first time, this is also what I thought too. I thought if you ran from a warrant, like you just talk yourself out of having to do a bond. Not when you have a failure to appear. Then they double it. Give it to the next person. They double it, and you don't get to sign yourself out. So the first time, it was a $5,000 unsecured bond. Now it's $10,000 secure. So if you want to get me out, it's usually 10%. You have to pay $1,000. So the first night I went to jail was on the 4th of July. And I remember I was terrified because I was like, I'm getting dressed for it. And as soon as they said $10,000, I didn't know it was 10% to get out at this point, but I was like, oh, I'm going to be in here for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I can come up with
$10,000, man. Who has $10,000? That's impossible money. So I walk in, they gave me I was still fat. I wasn't as fat, but I was still fat. They give me a fucking orange jumpsuit that's like fucking, it's too small. Yeah, so it's like pulling on my neck and in my ass, like super wedgy, like. And it's so fucking embarrassing. I'm walking in there, and you gotta like, it's not like in the movies where people are like yelling and shit like that. Here it's jail. It was a 21-hour lockdown. So I get in the cell, and in my cell, it's just like 2 old white guys. They're like, hey, bud, how you doing? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm doing, brothers. And when I finally got booked, it was like 9 o'clock at night. It took that fucking long to get into a jail cell. And I remember just like laying my little mat down and I was like, boy, fucking, yeah, business as usual, guys. I'm going to sleep. And I just like, I laid in bed and put my face to the wall and I'm just like laying there trying not to cry. And then as I'm sitting there here, outside all the fireworks. And that's everybody in the world's having fucking fun. I'm sitting there for what I think is going to be for the rest of my life. And there I sat. It was like, I think it was around 45 days. I remember that because we had big moments at 30. I thought I was going to get out because, bro, Superior Court never meet. They never fucking meet because I was like, oh, you got your next appointment's the Superior Court date. I don't know, like I said, how it worked. But apparently it was like, you know, it was when they ever felt like it, once in a blue moon. That's when we have court. So it was for 45 days, I just had to fucking just sit there. I didn't know when I was getting out. And then what's so funny is none of my brothers, nobody came to visit me until like 2 days before I got out.
You think that would have been one of their first things that they would have done? All of a sudden your brother's gone.
For something you did. And what's so funny is I get out. When I get out, we have like this little party. And
so you got cleared of the charges then?
No, I did not get cleared of the charges. So what happened so Superior Court takes like when you get charged with a felony, there's like 6 fucking court dates you got to go through, and it goes through all this stuff before it finally goes to a trial. So the 45-day court appearance, I'd already had a court appearance on it was like the 30th day, where I was like, oh man, hopefully I'll get out. And then I just sat in this one thing and the lawyer came up and was like, oh, I got continued. And I was like, well, what do you mean it got continued? I know we need to handle this. Like we need to find out what's going on. So this one, I'm expecting the same thing to happen because everybody's telling me how long it takes. So this time I have a different court-appointed lawyer. I never switched lawyers. I just had a different one. I don't know why. And this guy looked like the like Sam off of Lord of the Rings. So he like comes up and he's like, hey, so I talked to the judge and he is willing to drop it down to a misdemeanor and give you time served. I was like, yes. What? Yes. And he was like, so you want to take the deal? I was like, do you not hear me? Yes. So the cops walk away and I'm like all fucking happy. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting out and I'm all excited. And I turn around and there's like 9 people there who are fucking there for a while. So I was like, oh, I'm just shut the fuck up. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's But then finally I was in the cell by myself and I swear to God, I was just like sitting, I was, ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? I swear to God, I was the happiest I had ever been. So then I have to go back to jail and I had to wait like 4 hours to get released, which was the longest 4 hours of my life. But I was like, fucking, it was euphoria. Yeah, I don't understand how people like are the revolving door type because it's one time of me not doing something, but you know, taking the fall for it. And I was like, oh, I'm done with this criminal life. Like the bad crimes. I still stole copper and shit like that. You had to do it to live, but.
So there was a good equation that equaled what Mike is now. Like, had you not been to jail, maybe when Amy said like, hey, if you don't quit doing this shit, I'm not going to raise my kid with you. Like, and then all these little moments in life that add up to
it's so weird that you think about just the shit that comes together that puts you at the point where you are, because it's like if it does feel like all this shit had to happen for me to be, you know, sitting here. And it's just a weird fucking feeling. So I get out that day and we're doing the little party at night, and that's when Justin's like, you know what, bud, I did call in that bomb threat. And my dumb ass too was just like, oh, it's okay, bro.
I'm surprised you didn't fight him. That's like one fight.
Right, like, yeah, all the fighting story. And it's just, so I just had this thing, man, I could not fight my brothers.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't fight a friend and I can't fight brothers. Like even a friend that's like, me and him start shit talking. I don't know what it is. It's just like a fucking a sympathy thing. Like I just can't fucking do it. But that actually would take place. This is the second time that I got fucking in trouble, big trouble with the law, was once again with my brother. So fast forward, me and Amy are together. She's pregnant. And I'm trying to turn my life around, okay? So we go over to my brother's house, and we walk into his house, and they had obviously had a party last night. This is the point where, like, Xanaxes were getting big. And everybody's, like, passed out. So he has a 2-year-old son at this point. And I'm like, oh, fuck, where is he? So I go looking around the house, and I go into this back room. It's, like, covered in fucking trash and shit. And his son's sitting there, and he's, like, playing with this little rusty fan. while all these people are passed out. So I like go over there and I like slap them on the chest to wake them up. And I'm like, hey man, what the fuck's going on? And I go outside and I'm like, you gotta get your shit together, man. Like, this is not good. You got a kid. Like, I'm trying to get my shit together. I ain't even got a kid yet. And Amy just said something like actually polite. And he was like, this doesn't fucking concern you. Pop him right in the mouth. Like, that's what's crazy too about like when you find somebody and like you start falling in love and shit. Is you'll do things you never thought you would. But like he said something just real sideways to us. So I was just, popped him in the mouth real quick. I hit him a couple more times too, but it wasn't like anything real bad. And then I'm going back to the car and I get in the car and my middle brother's just like, he says something to me. And I'm like trying to get out the car and fight him also. So that night we made up. I was like, look, man, do bad. And he's like, fucking brotherly shit. All right. But his wife had called the cops on me. So I knew I would have to deal with that at some point. I was like, well, that's kind of stupid. I didn't think anything came of it because they never came to my house or anything like that. So fast forward, I'm now working at the box shop. I want to get my driver's license. I actually had them at one point, but then I had lost them because I was a dumbass and it was like this big fucking event. Like I said, I wouldn't pay for tickets and shit like that. So I was trying to get that back. So I had a driving without insurance thing that I had to get, just go fucking get it taken care of. So I go to get that taken care of. And when I go up to pay the fine or whatever, some cops walk in and they're like, what's up, Mike? Or put your hands behind your back. And I was like, oh no. Because one of them was one of the fucking officers that went to my school. So I was like, oh no. So I put my hands behind my back and I'm like, is this usually what you guys do for like traffic tickets? Yeah. Just like, is this like a thing? So I sit into a fucking, now I'm in like one of the interview rooms and it looks like one of those classic movie style interview rooms. And the text comes in there and he sits down and he was like, so what is this assault on a handicap? And I was like, what? I've never fucking. And he was like, yeah, well, it says right here on this date you assaulted a handicapped man. And then he starts reading the thing and I was like, oh no, that's me and my brother got into a fight. And he was like, this is your brother? You would assault your handicapped brother? And I was like, what? I mean, I did, dumb, but he's not handicapped. Like, that's the thing I was trying to do. Like, listen, touche. Like, if you get beat up by your little brother, touche. Like, say a cop comes up and is like, yeah, and also I'm handicapped. I was like, oh, well, fucking. Here's the thing, too, is and this is what sucked. So, oh, no, I was not working at the box shop yet. I was working at a fucking biscuit making place. People they'll hear that and fucking be able to draw their own conclusions. Because I remember I was trying to get a job at Bojangles because they paid a little bit more. And when they did my background check, she was like, what is this here that it says assault with a handicap? And I'm like, oh, you shouldn't even be able to see that. That was taken care of. Never heard back from them. Like, it doesn't even matter what that is. When they see assault on a handicap, they're just like, nah, we're not gonna touch that one. But I did get, when I got the job, bro, I was sweating bullets when I got the job at the box shop because they did the second, like, you go through a temp service and then when they hire you on, they do the background check. And I was so fucking nervous I was going to fail that background check because there was like 2 places and you're not even supposed to see it. That's the one thing too. We had to like go to court to be like, hey, you got to fucking wipe this away because like people are seeing it when they pull up my, what do they call it? The background check. Oh, what time are we at right now?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna wrap up the story. We gotta get to some advice. But the second one, the fucking one where you get hired on, I'll go up to the supervisor and I'm like, hey man, I'm kind of nervous about how like strangers are they? And I was like, what? Did you like molest somebody? I was like, no. And he's like, what were you doing, selling drugs? I was like, no. He's like, yeah, you ain't gonna fucking not know. I didn't know about factories. I didn't know that they was just like, come on, brother, just we don't care. We don't care. What's funny too is I tried to buy a car from a guy there and from the box shop I worked at, and I didn't get his number, so I was like, oh, I'll just fucking Google him and it'll probably pop up with like a white page thing. He popped up a lot. Statutory rape of 12-year-old.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I did still buy the car. It was a great deal. It's $500 for like a fucking 99 Toyota Corolla. $500. Look, listen, brother, I only molested a couple people. Like, that's it. But yeah, that's
People are just disgusting.
But all my criminal history, the things that like really, Because there was times where like I wanted to move up or get a job somewhere because I was like, oh, I have enough skills to be like a supervisor somewhere. And then I'd apply at like a company that had their shit together and they'd be like, nah, I can't do it. Nah, I can't do it.
See, the only time that I got in trouble with the law, I got in trouble twice. One time I got on probation, and I was a minor, so all that stuff's sealed, so it never showed up on anything. And then the second time, this one was a wild one. We had I was working at a ski resort, and this one kid at our school who, like, you know, he was trying to impress everybody, but he was also like kind of like an asshole. So he didn't have a lot of friends, but he was trying to make friends. So he had family that had a condo up on top of the ski resort. And so I was finishing up working at the pizza shop, and all of a sudden some of my friends show up on skis, and we were all snowboarders. So I was like, what the fuck why are you guys skiing?
Right.
And they're like, well, we were up at this guy's party up on the hill, and they just had skis on the wall and, some boots. And so we just rode the skis down to try and get you to come up to the party. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm about to finish up. So I drive back up there. And when I get in, like, it's really like one of those movie moments of just like a chaos party going on. It's like somebody's throwing a party and then they're like, don't break anything, don't do anything. Like, and that's what this kid is trying to tell us to do. But like, he's a shit. So everybody's just like, I mean, there was like a snowball that I swear was like, it took two people to carry it up to the balcony, and they threw it down in the middle of the living room floor. And so it's like, 100 gallons of water that's going to be melting.
Right.
And
my God.
Like, just like so much chaos there. Like, this is back in VCR time. So people were taking the VCR tapes and breaking them and throwing them in the fan. And so it's just like, and then like by the end of the night, people were like stealing like appliances and shit, like refrigerators, and like it's
normal kid stuff, yeah.
Chaos. And so luckily this one happened. I don't even think my parents technically know about this one, because the cops came to ask me while we were on like Christmas break, and so they came to the house and interviewed me without my parents around.
Oh, that's
and so
they can't use that in the court of law.
So like they were asking, and eventually they were like technically the kid's uncle who owns the condo isn't pressing charges on anybody else. Like, had he not broken in, because he like basically had left a window unlocked so he could sneak in and throw this party. And they were like, had he not broken in, none of this other stuff would have happened. So he's not going after everybody that damaged property. It's all falling on this kid. And I was like shitting. Well, because like I had already been in trouble and been on probation prior to this. So
what'd you do? We want to know about that one.
So that one was like, in my town, it's so small that like, when you hang out with people, you didn't necessarily hang out with everybody that was your age. So I hung out with a little bit older people. Those older people hung out with a little bit older people. And so you'd get into some shit that you shouldn't be involved in. I think I was like 12 years old or something like that. And I don't know, I might have been a little bit older because I think we were smoking weed at the time. But we'd go down to like this little culvert where there was like a very big storm drain. And that's where we'd like go smoke weed at and just like hang out and smoke cigarettes and do all the things that kids go and hide away for. And one of my friends, or one of the older people, walks up with like a box of like porno mags. And he's like, yeah, they moved out, and like, so I just went inside and went and got all these porno mags.
Oh, no.
And so he's like, you want to come up and get some with me? And I was like, okay. So we walk in, we grab them, we take them down there, and like, this is where we store all the porno mags at. And, a crazy situation happened where these other kids were smoking at this other building right nearby, and they ended up burning it down. It was like a little building, so it wasn't like, they burnt down part of the city. Like, it was just a little storage shed, and it caught on fire. Well, they got in trouble, so they pinned it on the kid that stole the porno mags, and then the kid that stole the porno mags blamed it on us for breaking in and stealing the porno mags. But like, you're telling me a 12-year-old told a 17-year-old to like, you're gonna come in here and steal all this stuff? Like, no, like, and so me and my other buddy, and like my other buddy was so like straight-laced, like he was just a good kid, and like he was hanging out with me. I don't even think he was smoking weed or smoking cigarettes or anything. He just hung out with me. He was like my neighbor. And then so both of us get pinned for this thing and go to court, do all the things, and like my dad's disappointed that I would, like, he believed me that I didn't mastermind this thing.
You can tell the people that you burned down the shed. It's okay.
No, I did not.
We're in a safe spot right now. It happened so long ago. Just you're a serial arsonist. It's okay. We're all getting over something.
No, we'd start fires in the woods back at our forts and stuff. But we
Brother.
never burned anything down.
That's what's so funny about you telling that story is because I told you about the ring of fire we did at Allen J. Park.
Yeah.
That's right there in High Point. So we were like, oh, we're going to make a ring of fire. It will be really cool. Now, the cool part is I am hanging out with my older brother, and he has an older friend with him. And then it's my middle brother, and then me and my friend Corey. I'm going to go to, I think we were in elementary school at this point, like 5th grade. We go to school together. So everybody is hella convinced. Like, we're just all like, this will, if we just do a ring of gasoline, it'll do like a ring of fire, and that'll be really cool. That's going to be awesome. So in the middle of the woods right there at the park, we do our little ring of fire. All right. And then we light it. And the whole middle, it doesn't even ring of fire. It just, oof, at one time, the whole middle catches on fire. Obviously, we have started a uncontrollable fire that we cannot handle. So the fire department has to come in, and my older brother and his friend get in trouble with that one, which is cool because, you know, that was the really good thing about having older brothers is that when you're young, you just be like, I just went along. I don't know what was happening, which, I mean, technically, I was real young too. So, and then when we went to Jamestown, the place where I got haunted at by the ghost, there was a field across the street, and there was this kid, Andrew, and he was like, he lived with his grandma, and he was like supposedly like a really good kid. That's what she always said. He's a sweet angel. That kid was fucking Satan. Like, I swear to God, he has to be a serial killer. If I wish I could remember his last name. I guarantee you he's murdered people. Like, he was the most unhinged fucking person I have ever met in my life.
Yeah.
One of the scary people. I would not, he'd always be like, why don't you come hang out in the woods with me? I'm like, fuck you, bud. And I'm little too. Like, little Mike, man, he knew how to dodge molestation, getting murdered, because this kid was fucking crazy. But when my older brothers were around, I'd go hang out with them because my brothers could just beat them up.
Yeah.
So we go out to a field, and there's this big piece of, it's like the cushion shit that you put in the fucking cushions. The inside of a cushion, you know what I'm talking about? That yellow foam shit?
Okay.
There's a big block of it. So they're like, oh, we're going to set it on fire. And I was just like, oh, that's going to be fucking awesome. Like, that's going to be cool. This is after the ring of fire. We should not be playing with fire anymore.
No.
So they light it up, and it's very obvious to me by the panic that has ensued. Because my oldest brother and Andrew, they were like the same age. Once again.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to and I see that this is not going to work. So I immediately book it home. I sit down. We had a little Nintendo. Now, this is the crazy part is my grandpa had actually bought this trailer, or he didn't buy it, but he was paying he was like the mortgage and shit. Like, if my stepdad paid him back after so long, it would be paid off. That didn't work out for long. But,
you tell stories like a woman.
I know. I suck at it.
We need this detail from 14 years ago.
I suck at it. I have to say it once it pops in my mind. I wish I was different. All right. But I run in, and we had a little old Nintendo. This is after PlayStation and everything was out. Nintendo 64 was like really popular. So I go in there, and I'm like playing it, and I look out, and I see the smoke now coming above the trees. You can see it right above the tree line. And I'm just like, what is that? Like, what is happening over there? And my mom goes out, and she's like, what the fuck? And so she walks up because she knows my brothers are playing in the woods. She thought I was out there playing. I was like, oh, I'm playing Nintendo.
No, I've been playing the game the whole time.
So we all go out there, and I, to this day, it's like one of those core memories of, I just remember my mom standing there screaming for my brothers while there's this fucking inferno. The whole field is on fire when we walk up. And I'm talking about inferno. It was the craziest shit I'd ever seen. I was terrified. Oh, they all got charged. This one was different. I think the other one, they were like, oh, stop being fucking idiots.
Yeah.
At the fucking Allen J. Park one. This one, they got charged. So, I mean, my mom's standing there just yelling for my brothers, real panicked, while the whole fucking field's on fire. So my brothers come up, and they're telling the story about what happened because they're trying to pin it on Andrew, which it was his idea to light the thing on fire because it gets fucking crazy.
See, they snitched. So you should have learned that lesson when your brother tried to throw you under the bus for the bomb threat.
Here's the funny part, though, because my brothers are telling the story, and they're like, yeah, it was me, him, and Michael, And my mom was like, Michael's inside playing the video. I was like, no, the fuck he wasn't. He was out there with us. He was like fucking doing like a fucking Native American tomahawk dance to we were going to light on fire. That's how excited he was about it. She was like, you guys are fucking lying. He was sitting in, because they got in fucking, that's the most trouble I remember like them being out of. But that, like I said, one day we'll tell the story about the Jamestown shit, because that's when I was like, that's when that haunting shit happened. Real fucking shit, man. Crazy. That's why you can't tell me there's no weird shit that goes on in life. Look, I give the tidbits for the people. Yeah. Do you even want to read a piece of advice?
I don't know how long this is, so I mean, we cannot.
How about you read the advice?
All right, I'll read one of them.
I've dominated the story, so we're gonna hear Dylan read a piece of advice and give you the advice. And guess what? I'm not even gonna put my 2 cents in.
All right, so we're gonna go with.
I just got something. I'm just fucking with you.
With "Am I the Asshole?" Dear Mike and Dylan. So I was going out with this girl for a few months, and it was going good. One day we went to the bar that we are both regulars at, and one of her friends said that she had put multiple ex-boyfriends in jail, which sent sirens in my head, and the little people working in my brain went alert, even though I didn't run till later because she's hot, and I thought I could handle crazy. Later that night, we were alone on the patio, so I asked if she would like to keep going with what we had. My way of asking if she wants to be official, even though we spent most every day together, and she was going to be joining me at a few family barbecues in the following days. She danced around the question and then said how I make her feel about how... Sorry, I can't read either.
Yeah. Mike and Dylan can't read.
And then said how I make her feel better about herself. So after a few minutes, I went inside and told friends and bartenders that they don't know where I'm going if anyone asked. I'm trying to hide. Later, I tell her it's best we don't talk to each other when we run into each other. Since we frequent the same bar. A week later, she calls me while I'm asleep on my birthday and says her boyfriend wants to know if there's still a chance with me and her. Seems like an odd question.
Right. Because I would like to watch if there is.
I'm just kind of into the whole like...
Right, yeah. You are still attracted to her, right? Because I'm attracted to you.
I asked to talk to the boyfriend, and suddenly he doesn't exist or want to talk. Am I the asshole for being harsh and telling her I don't want to talk to her or really see her, and being pushy and how I don't want to talk to her because of the accusations that I don't want to fuck around and find out?
That's rough. I have in my life 2 times been requested for services of sleeping with somebody's wife in front of them.
I think hundreds of times if we count all the comments that people.
Yes, that too. Because I used to do the mic, the badass moments with Steve where he would talk about fucking his wife and shit. Yeah, I would get so many like, hey bud, if you're really into that, we live in Arkansas, and I'm just like, oh, no. The 2 times that I was asked, no, I cannot think of anything more awkward than having sex with somebody and looking over, and there's just a dude like, yeah, really give into her, buddy. I was just like, can't do it. The first one, I don't know if I ever told the story about when I was the supervisor in Thomasville, and we had that Cuban guy. Bro, he would show me pictures of his wife in like bikinis and shit like that, real revealing. She's a pretty heavy set girl too. So, I was just like, nice. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you should be proud.
There are pretty big girls out there. Like
girls that are pretty.
Girls that are pretty and big. Yeah, there are pretty big girls out there. But, if anybody shows you a picture, you just want to be respectful. Like, oh yeah, she's very beautiful. Haha. Yep. That's awkward. So I just, I'd walk away. He cooked food for everybody, which was delicious. Mm-hmm. And, one day he finally, shows it again. He's like scrolling and there's one of her naked. I did not want to see it. And he was like, so you like her? And I was just like,
oh, she's beautiful.
Yeah, she's a very beautiful woman. Because he's like, if you want to, you come down, you can hang out with her. I was like, no, brother. So he was very bisexual. Very bisexual. And he thought I was a good looking feller. That's what I'm saying, man. Guys have been really interested in me. I've had to work for women. But the guys, they just fucking love me. And I'm just like, man, if I was like bisexual, I'd be racking it. I'd be killing it. I never fired him for it, even though it made me feel super uncomfortable because it's me and he was a hell of a forklift driver. And if he got fired, then I would have to supervise and do the bander and unload the bander and stock lines. And I'm just like, that's a lot of shit. I'm going to keep the creepy guy. But then one Friday night, the guys would hang out in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. I used to do that when I was young, but now, at this point I had 2 kids. This was before Theo. I just was like, that's gay, brother. I'm going home. Fucking y'all hang out in the parking lot. So when I had left, Freddie had pinned one of the operators to the car, and the operator that he pinned to the car was real. Like, he was a little guy. He was like 5'6", super skinny guy.
Yeah.
Had pinned him to the car in like a really aggressive, I'm gonna rape you kind of way. So yeah, we had to let him go, and we gave that operator hell all the time. I was like, because he'd like say something, we're like, bro, we'll call Freddie back. You better. I mean, if he wanted you that night, he could have had you.
So what's your advice for the listener that submitted?
Well, he obviously fancied the girl, and
I think he dodged a bullet.
well, yeah, I mean, he absolutely dodged a bullet, but he fancied her, and then he found out that she was in a relationship. He was fucking.
Well, I don't think I think it was she was playing games. Like,
Oh, she was like kind of bouncing it back and forth.
but she's crazy. Like, and I'm not saying all.
I think I got into the cuckold jokes.
Yeah.
Just like, was like, but fucking, yeah, you can't, because he seems like a good guy. So, I mean, if she definitely has a boyfriend, or was that even a guy? Is he saying she made the boyfriend up?
I think so.
See, look, Michael has no reading comprehension when it's coming from somebody else.
The way that the story, like, it's kind of a complicated story, the way that he wrote it, so it's not really all spelled out there. But
She was
basically
pretending.
she was hot. He talked to one of her friends, and her friend said that she had gotten a bunch of her ex-boyfriends put in jail, and so he got warned. And then when he kind of like cut it off and like dipped out, I think he dipped out without telling her, like, we're not talking anymore. And then she's like, my boyfriend wants to know if you're still interested in me.
When you said that, I had interpreted it as she said that she had her ex-boyfriends put in jail. That's why I was like,
No.
That's crazy. So when we said the boyfriend called, I thought they were like still together. Yeah, she's fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Just,
well, that's the thing with
run, brother.
With attractive girls. Like, there's plenty of great attractive girls out
It's
there
like
that
the scale.
aren't crazy, but they're like, what did you say that in the last episode? Standard deviation.
Yeah, it's like how
heavy.
hot, how the acceptable amount of crazy goes up with how beautiful they are.
Yeah.
Like, listen, if you're listening to this podcast and you are a guy or girl, and you are just hideous, understand you got to be a respectful, humble person in your relationship. You got to be very loving and ready to put in that extra mile. But if you're gorgeous as fuck, I mean, whatever. Stab me in the neck with a nail file. Fucking. All right, man. Well, fuck. Do we wrap it up? I mean, that was we got into some good stories, man. One day we're gonna have to do like the 3-part, just so I can get everything out there, so I'll quit fucking telling stories about my life.
Yeah, I think maybe on the next episode we front load with at least one.
Yeah, we're gonna
story.
Yeah, front load advice, and then we can get into kind of like I think that would be better too, because then the advice people that don't want to stick around for us rambling can get there and then leave, and then we give the overtime to the people who want it.
Yeah, I think people think probably that my backstory isn't as crazy, when it's not. I don't have as many, like, I went to jail. I didn't go to jail. But, like, there's definitely some childhood that being poor.
Well, we want to hear that too, because also you have kind of like the more latchkey kid style life, and those have great stories in them. I don't know, my shit feels like, honestly, it does feel like a cartoon. Like, it feels like Joe Dirt, when Joe Dirt's telling his story and it's like this really weird fucking story where he has a meteorite made of shit. That literally is my childhood. There was so much shit that went on, and it's just from, like I said, just the goofiness, it almost feels like when I was a kid. This is kind of what I believe, all right? When I was like 4 or 5 years old, this is still a core memory. I remember it when I was like 5 years old. We went down to the lake. My aunt had met who my uncle is now, and he was fucking around, and he like threw me, because they were like, oh, I could teach him how to swim. He was just joking around, and threw me into muddy water, and then subsequently could not find, like, oh fuck, oh oops, like, he threw me a little bit too far. I believe I fucking like went into a coma right there, and all this has just been like a fucking cartoon that I've made in my mind.
Yeah, some psychedelics will work that out for you.
Right. None of you guys are real. No, I do the psychedelics with you, and then I'll wake up in a hospital room.
At 5.
At 6. No, at 6.
Yeah.
Fuck. And I just like sit there with my eyes open. I'm just like shaking. And my mom's like, hey, babe, what do you guys do drugs? And my dad's there. And he's like, oh, I am your real father. What are you talking about? I'm like, well, you made all this shit up in your mind. That would be, bro, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. It does. It feels such like a cartoon. But also, so it's so weird how, like, my perception of the universe also. Because, like I said, at one point, it just doesn't feel real enough. And then sometimes, like, it feels too real. And one of these episodes in this week, I do want to kind of tell the just kind of like the more superstitious stories. So maybe we just give them that as like an extra Saturday podcast and not part of our regular, because there we could just do like a deep dive and you can do like the interviewer questions. I could do like the interviewee, just something. So like you said, we can give the people their advice stuff. And then this could be something extra for the people that want to hear it.
Bonus episode.
But yeah, it's been I've had a goofy fucking life, and it's so weird that it all led to this moment. And Dylan is a guy who likes to talk about fate and destiny and shit like that. And that's some of the shit where I just like, oh man, so it does feel real. Like it does. Tell them about the thing about the parking lot and the parking spaces opening up.
So I learned about this through one of my self-help books. I think it's You Are a Badass or something like that. But it's basically if you go into a situation and are already thankful for it and you already imagine that something is going to happen, it can happen. And so like a weird thing that I do with parking is like before I ever even pull into the store or anything like that, I actually am thankful that I have a parking space like right at the front. And especially with like my kids and all that stuff, it makes it way easier to not have to walk all the way from the end of the parking lot. And I would say 90% of the time, if not the first parking space, the second parking space is open. If I remember to do it. When I don't remember to do it, I'm like, ah, shit. But if I do pull into a parking lot, like it happens at Walmart all the time, there's like that one parking space next to the handicap that then there's like a vegetation thing, and nobody ever parks in that parking spot. But like I'm always thankful, like I'm getting that parking spot. It's right up at the front, right next to the door, and sure enough, pull in the parking lot, and that one's almost always empty for me.
So Dylan told me about this. And I was driving to my grandma's house, and she lives 25 minutes away. All right. And Dylan tell you, I love to smoke cigarettes. I am a car smoker just in my car. My kids don't go in it. I don't give a fuck. That's my car. It's also real dirty. Dylan will tell you that. So I'm like a woman when it comes to cars. So I'm going to her house, and I'm like, fuck, I don't have a lighter on me. So once you pass that speedway on South Main, you don't get to nothing else until you get right up to her house. So I'm sitting there like I'm filling the side and everything like that. And I'm like looking over in the seat, and I'm like moving some trash around in my passenger seat. And I think about what you said, and I was like, oh, it's okay because good job, Mike, for leaving that lighter where I just felt. And I swear to God, I feel again, there's a fucking lighter. And I was like, bro, voodoo magic. Yep. Voodoo magic. But listen, guys, let us know what you think. Do you want some more Mike and Dylan backstory stuff? Because we could do one where we do one day for, and then we switch roles and we get some of your, other arson stories.
Oh, you let me talk.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
What?
Fuck yeah. Yeah. That's the only thing about
those
some
ones
of these
don't perform as good though.
What?
The ones where I talk.
It does perform good. That was just a Friday episode. Friday episodes suck, brother. People want to enjoy their weekends, not listen to us. People are like, we like Mike and Dylan, but yeah, when we have nothing else to do.
It was hilarious though, because there is one episode that didn't work as well, and like I was like, yeah, this one, I don't know what's going on, but I think I had already said to Mike, I was like, yeah, you actually let me talk in that one. He's like, yeah, that's why it's not doing good.
Bro, I'm fucking witty. That's why, like, all the content that I make, that we make in the podcast and shit, none of that shit's written. And I just I come up with it right there. And they're like, oh, we love your takes on these. And I was like, really? I'm fucking just winging it. Just like working my way through it. But yeah, that's what happens when you have a self-identified comedian as a friend.
Yep. But well, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, and let us know what you want, man. If you want the advice in the beginning, rambling at the end, or if you just like them as like separate bonus episodes, leave a review on.
We're
Spotify.
Here to make you happy.
Yeah, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever your podcast listening takes place at, and we will see you next time.
Later.